So welcome to the Town of Deerfield Selectboard Board of Health Sewer Commissioners meeting for January 7th, 2026. The time is 6 p.m. This is a hybrid meeting, both on Zoom and in the main meeting room at 8 Conway Street, South Deerfield, Mass. This meeting will be held in a hybrid fashion with the opportunity for both in-person attendance and remote participation. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting or hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in any specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. The meeting will be held in person in the main meeting room of Deerfield Municipal Offices in accordance with General Law, Mass General Law, Chapter 30A. Anyone intending to record the meeting must identify themselves to the clerk and provide their name and address for the record. So I'll call the meeting to order, and I'm going to hold on public comment until after, but we're so excited to have appearance today by our wonderful Senator Joe Comerford. So welcome to you. We're so happy you could join us, and Happy New Year.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for the work of this select board in town.
Thank you.
I
It's
have
been
to
a
say,
great partnership.
It has been a really great 7-year partnership, but as I was coming through, I was like, look at this downtown campus, with the construction at night. You know, like I come through during the day a lot.
Sure.
But at night, I'm not here as much at night, and with all the construction lights on, it looked.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's
We're
amazing.
happening.
Like a metropolis.
I know, with your help. It's
And
been
wait until we
great.
fix Elm Street so that we don't have potholes in the downtown.
Yes.
There's a lot
yes.
going on.
There's a lot going on in Deerfield, and really a credit to the town
Thank you.
and the select board and everyone who works
Yes,
here.
it's a great team. And
It's a great team.
great team with state reps and senator and
God bless Natalie Blay. Right,
yes,
in our partnership,
exactly.
right.
And Jim, the governor.
Jim.
Yep. Very, very happy. So, so welcome. Love
Thank
to
you
hear,
so
hear
much.
from you and what's going on at the State House.
Thanks for affording me the time, truly.
course.
And, you know this about me, but I do believe municipal governance is the hardest there is. It really makes what Jim and Natalie and I do look like Cupcakeville,
Well,
right? Balancing the needs of a town and dealing with state regulations and laws and federal regulations and laws is really difficult. And so I just want to acknowledge that.
Thank you.
I have a whole bunch of updates. I'm happy
hear 'em.
to hear. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm happy. Okay. We'll just start there. And
Sure.
Then just let's make this more of a conversation
Of
so
course.
that you can,
Absolutely.
certainly hold me to whatever you'd like to hear from.
That'd be great.
I want to start with education funding. It's been something that Deerfield has talked to me about a lot, and Natalie about a lot. And when I say I here, we can hear we, because
Yes.
really nothing happens in the state legislature for Deerfield without Natalie, without
Absolutely.
Ripley.
Wonderful help.
So, what's true is we have to open in the Chapter 70 formula. That is true. The Student Opportunity Act was an important bill passed in 2017. The Foundation Budget Review Commission was opened in 2015. That's a decade ago, now
Right.
more than a decade ago. It's time we look at it again, right?
Yeah.
And we have to look at it with declining enrollment in rural schools in mind. We have to look at it with the impact of special education funding and how we're deciding to apportion that money, the impact of regional school transportation, charter schools, vocational schools, all of these things that were left out of the Foundation Budget Review. So I want you to know that is something I pound, we, right, you're gonna hear we, pound the table with, both with our own chambers, but also with the Healy-Driscoll administration. I have hope that the governor's fiscal year 2025 budget will include the establishment of a Foundation Budget Review Commission. We've made that formal request more times than I can count. As you know, we've had the Ways and Means hearings out here the
thank you.
last years, on education and local aid, because they're the most important
They are.
for us, not most important, but they're important because they're huge parts of the municipal budget.
Yes.
I will say that there have been a couple of advances, even in that big framework. And thank you for the people of Deerfield's testimony with the target local contribution study. So as you know, education funding is sort of like a clamshell, right? It's Chapter 70, what we get, and then the target local contribution, what the state tells us that we can and should pay.
Right.
And that is that has a lot of assumptions, right? What's the municipal state split? Do we want to cap? And here, Greg knows the Gill folks, Tupper and Mike Naughton, who have been for a long time, Tupper Brown and Mike Naughton, talking to the state, and now they have a platform to talk about why in the world are we capping Wayland or Weston,
Right.
Arlington, Newton, Cambridge, where they could pay many times over.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here? So
Right.
there's a lot of levers in that target local contribution study.
And the issues with, people's income as it
Correct.
relates. That may be well and good, but we can't attach anything to that. It doesn't really matter how much people make.
Correct,
Doesn't
right,
affect.
and that's the target local contribution, right? How do they determine that?
Yeah.
And what are the assumptions in there about wealth?
Right.
Deerfield's a little bit bigger, so one hyper wealthy person doesn't completely throw us out of whack here.
Compared to Conway.
But up in Conway and Leverett, right? These are places
Yes.
where they're completely destabilized.
Yes.
And they, as you say, are not able to recoup in other ways.
Yes.
So that is a world of options that is deeply in play.
Yeah.
I want you to know.
Thank you.
There was a Greenfield, as you know.
Mhm.
Thank you for being there.
Sure. Thank
There
you.
was a Greenfield hearing. There have been virtual hearings. Our testimony is flowing in, and this is a very good thing.
Yeah.
And we hope to see robust recommendations from the governor on what to do in that part of the clamshell.
Great.
The other part needs to be addressed. So I just want you to know that's very much
Thank you.
present. And in the what we spend is of course rural school aid,
Mm-hmm.
and the rural school bill. So Rep. Lay and I have the rural school bill again in the Senate. That's been reported favorably.
Good.
To Ways and Means, if the town wanted to write anything
Sure.
in support of that to the Senate President, to Ways and Means about rural school aid in the fiscal year 27 budget,
Okay.
and or the rural schools bill, that would be useful from the
Okay.
Select Board.
Great.
Is there a deadline on testimony for that?
Are they taking it now? or-
No, the governor's budget's the main event now, and it'll
Right.
be out in a couple of weeks-ish.
Yep.
Um,
Usually right around
and,
MMA.
So, and then there'll be Ways and Means hearings, and then the House will do the budget in April, we'll do the budget in May. But,
Yeah.
it's like the sooner the better-ish.
Yeah.
Just because we want the bills to move, and
Right.
we're in the back half.
Yeah.
Right.
So, those are the advances and still some challenges in education. I will say in the larger delegation, and here, again, deeply in partnership with Natalie, we've been focused on something that I know you're thinking a lot about, which is declining population overall,
Yeah.
and a need to really stimulate an economic base,
Right.
and what that's going to take. So we've been focused a lot on transportation, and as
Good.
you know, we are pushing hard on Chapter 90.
Yes.
And, because we need the infrastructure on how are we going to welcome individuals, businesses, families without good roads?
Yeah.
And so, in terms of, and without public transit. So
Right.
we've had some advances on that, not enough, because I know the deferred maintenance is monumental, right?
It is.
For Deerfield, God help
Yep.
us. And the expense of paving a road
Mhm.
just doesn't, it's laughable. But
Yeah.
it's not laughable to you, but like with
No, I know what you mean.
regard to what we get in Chapter 90.
Yep.
So I will say that, I believe we won't ever go back, at least in current times. We're not going to go back to the pure only Chapter 90 grossly unfair
Right.
algorithm. I think we'll continue to stick to some percentage of this by miles only, which
It
will
helps
help
a ton.
us.
It helps a ton. Yeah.
So I just, any kind of advocacy you wanted to do there is, I think, good advocacy.
Good.
If you want to do a budget letter, you could include that, please, road miles only.
Yeah.
We did a third of it. Could we do more? I think we can.
Yeah.
So we also spent, while Natalie focused a lot on dirt roads, which was really critical, I focused on microtransit.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a 10 million boost, first ever, direct grant for microtransit. And so I'm hopeful that in addition to the kind of sustained RTA funding that's going to do fare free and cross county,
Yeah,
all the stuff
that
that
helps.
we know about,
Yep.
that we start to see some greater innovation in the RTAs. FRTA has been doing a great pilot. I was able to work with Linda and fund it through, and Megan up in her team through through some small earmarks,
Yeah.
90, 100,000, over these years. And they've done a good pilot. And so my hope is that the state is getting in the business of making this state funding through fair share.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. The north-south rail is quite
Yes.
solidified. The two east-west rail projects, the southern tier is farther along, as we know. The northern tier still, though, has great hope.
I think it would be wonderful.
And Jim McGovern has been unbelievable as an advocate there.
Yeah.
So that's transportation. In housing, I will say that Natalie and I had a bill that we were able to pass into law that would establish a dashboard for housing expenditures. And that just will help us fact check, gut check the amount of money that we're getting relative to other places.
Mm-hmm.
And we've also been working with Linda, who's been excellent here. Really,
Yeah.
We couldn't do anything without FERCOP, right?
She's
Zero,
wonderful.
this much, right?
Yep.
Really to try to work with housing in livable communities around what's called Housing Choices 2.0,
Okay.
which was supposed to be a program that worked well for smaller, more rural communities. In fact, it just didn't.
Yeah.
And this is in the larger conversation around how do we really push the Healy-Driscoll administration, which doesn't need a whole lot of push, right?
Mhm.
They want to do this, to see the ways in which there have been systemic blockages to us getting our fair share.
Right.
So the Housing Choices 2.0 program is shifting. I hope this means that more of our municipalities will be open. And I know Deerfield has its own in this
Yeah.
downtown campus hope.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. Again, we're going to have to hold it all accountable.
Sure.
And then, in the same vein of algorithms that don't work, I know the concerns about pilot.
Yes.
So the governor did actually implement a bill that Natalie and I filed and she stood up a pilot commission. And that is going to start. And both Natalie and I have been appointed.
That's great. That's
And
great.
which is great,
Yes.
right? And that's really going to gut check two pieces of that formula that I think are broken. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just me, but one is the algorithm that really compares Deerfield's land prices to, say, Nantucket,
Sure.
and then makes Deerfield pay
Yeah.
essentially by devaluing
Right.
Deerfield relative to Nantucket based on the statewide average,
Yep.
which I think is bananas, right? Like
It
totally
is bananas. Yep.
And then it doesn't do anything with ecosystem services, right? Like it's not
Right.
saying like, hey,
Yeah.
the farmers in Deerfield, they're growing the food. We're protecting the watershed, the Connecticut River watershed.
Sure.
They're sequestering carbon.
Yeah.
Look, there's all this biodiversity. So I think we have to have a hard and strong conversation about what we're doing out here for Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And this commission will be one of the places that we can do that.
That'd be helpful. Yeah.
So when you think about so there's the direct spending like Chapter 70, Chapter 90, there's the grant spending where we're pushing on all the algorithms. There's the program service spending like RTAs. I just want you to know that we're pushing in all of those areas because we say a lot out here, Boston doesn't listen to us, but in fact, it's really baked into structural inequities.
Right.
And if we push on all of those and
You get some
ask a
movement.
good administration, we can see some movement.
Yeah.
So, and the last I'll just say is we've been aware that we are very underrepresented in boards and commissions statewide.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been, some of our seats just haven't gone filled. So the delegation did join forces to fill 5 court seats,
Oh, good.
which the governor was good about hearing from us and then prioritizing those appointments. But we're also really working with Kristen Ellico, who's another unbelievable, gift, to us out here to really get
Oh, yes.
more
Yeah.
Western Mass leaders and
Right.
voices. So this, could be another place for Deerfield, just to say, Deerfield
Right.
folks, you give so much. This town is humming along. Do you want to serve on a statewide border commission? And they could contact me, they could contact
Sure.
Natalie,
Yeah, yeah.
and I could get them into the governor's office. And Kristen's being really good by saying,
She's
hey, we
great.
have a couple of openings here,
That's
but
helpful.
I think we should reverse that pipeline,
Yeah.
right? I think we should push in
Yeah. Instead
to
of
the
wait.
governor's office.
Yep.
And she's allowing a lot of these to be remote now, so you
Good.
don't have to schlep all the way out to Boston.
Right.
And so it's not a full day commitment,
Yeah.
like it has been, and that's
Right.
really hard. Not
Yeah.
all of them have gone to the 21st century, but
Right.
a lot have.
Yeah.
So these are some advances that are bringing
Yeah.
us closer to equity and closer to,
Being represented. Yeah. Yeah.
getting Boston to see us out here in a fuller sense.
That's great. That's really great. I'm excited about the east-west rail stuff. Most of my days in the Berkshires, I travel down 91 out the Pike, or I'm up Route 2 and then down 7. But I cover that whole area, and as I get on the Pike every day, almost every day I'm traveling out there, and just that from Westfield to Lee, there's just no off ramp, and if there was just some way to get people. I mean, the land is much more valuable. It's beautiful. It's such a gorgeous place, all throughout Western Mass. But if we could just draw some of that, if it was easier for people, it is definitely easier with the broadband infrastructure that we've done. But just to get people to see us out here when they travel out here,
100%.
just to drive some business and economic development out this way would be helpful. And people could just hop a train and,
Right, it's like it's perfect timing.
timing.
Yeah, no, I totally am with you. And I do think, the governor and lieutenant governor understand our concerns about population decline.
Yeah.
They understand that our schools, are hemorrhaging students,
Yeah.
and our economies need taxpayers, and
Yes.
towns need tax revenue.
Right. And we'll be a drain on them if not. It's not like we go away completely. There's still, we just become a drain instead
Right.
of a positive influence and economic growth.
Exactly, and
state.
I think they understand that we just want what's fair.
Yeah.
And we'd love to be able to take care of ourselves.
Yes. Yeah.
More,
Right.
right? But there's an economy of scale that we do not enjoy
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. For sure.
Which is tricky. We have a beautiful place to live, so we don't need to give that up necessarily,
Correct.
right? And I think we could find that sweet spot.
Yeah. I do too.
I read recently, within the last week, about the towns around the Quabbin trying to form a union to, work collaboratively with Boston to try and bring these issues more into play. And they sort of dovetail with, we're the lungs of the Commonwealth, all Berkshires, Franklin County, Hampshire, and Hamden. What can you tell us about that? Is it just...
Sure. They launched a letter yesterday, an open letter to the people of Eastern Massachusetts.
Nice.
So I put it out on social media today. It's the 11 towns that ring the Quabbin, and they've been meeting ad hoc. Some are representing their select boards or FinComs or conservation commissions or school committees. Some are great environmentalists, and I think what they share is they share this. They get to see they share this beautiful place, right? An exquisite place in the world.
Yeah.
But their economies are really frozen,
Yeah.
and like just the conversation we were having, they're not looking to have skyscrapers
Right.
in the Quabbin, but they are looking to Boston to say, hey, you guys, it's 2.7 million if you drink this water that we sacrifice and safeguard every day.
Right.
How about a little bit more money?
Yeah.
How about a little bit more say on the boards and commissions?
Yep.
There's On the MWRA, there's no one from, if you can believe it, 0 people from the Quabbin Reservoir
Wow.
representing the Quabbin on the Massachusetts Water Resources Authority.
Blowing.
It's pretty awful.
Yeah.
And it's not for lack of trying, I'll tell you.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's what they're
Yeah,
doing. And
great.
kudos to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's fairness. It's not really anything
Yeah,
more than that.
Exactly. It's just a fairness proposition.
Yeah. So, a couple things maybe, or one thing I would bring up, and I just thank you and Natalie for your help with DOT, and we have kind of dragged our feet a bit, just waiting for some technical data on infrastructure.
We're talking about Sugarloaf Park.
Sugarloaf Park,
Oh,
yes, Sugarloaf Park.
I had it next on my list. I'm
Oh,
so
good,
glad you're
good.
going there. Yeah,
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Let's do it.
So we're just, we're looking to develop the common, and we are so grateful to learn about the earmark, in the transportation, I think it was in the transportation bill.
Yep.
For some money to help with that infrastructure, because that was kind of laying the groundwork. Before, we didn't really have a way or a mechanism for DOT to have some money to kind of develop that area. We have gotten some grant money to do Elm Street, and we're waiting, and our CPA has been kind of frustrated with the Town Common Committee because we've had money earmarked for several years, but just have been in this deadlock with DOT about where to do crosswalks and what's the smart development of the area. So I'm grateful for your leadership and help to facilitate a meeting. Alex and Chris have been working, and Greg have been working on getting some of that technical data, what's under the road, should
Right,
we
that was
take
the
it
big
over.
thing, right? Because you guys
Yes.
didn't want to own it if you didn't know it was
Right.
under there. And
Yep.
the great D2 said, well, we can't tell you the entire thing.
Yes.
I know you wanted to know the entire
Yep.
thing. Yeah.
So we had a grant to do some asset management plans, so that was good for our wastewater and sewer. So at least we got some of that data, and we're waiting for our engineer to kind of compile that, give that to us, and then I would love to just set up another meeting at
100%.
some point this spring to kind of say, here's what we got, here's what we think we could do, how could we pull all this together and just finish off downtown for that. That would be wonderful to have that help.
I think I've probably massed out once to finish this too.
I do too.
I would imagine. So let's do it. Let's do
Yeah,
it. I
that's
think we
great.
should, unlike going there, I think we should have them come here because we
Yeah.
have this like snazzy setup.
Sure.
And then we can walk right over
Absolutely. I
and
love
really look at
Yep.
the crosswalks.
And-
you know,
that. Alex did secure a grant through FERCog. We just found out about the
it-
Park Street project.
Right, so FERCog they got a grant to basically look at, using paint, barricades, things like that to temporarily close off Park Street, just to do kind of a test of what it would look like if that's the way our roadways worked here. So.
Right. So we're going to kind of see how that goes and see what kind of judge around the construction of Elm Street, and what does it look like for traffic flow, and would it benefit us to kind of have a bigger common area and close off Park, or is it just doesn't really make sense? And we've looked at that and studied the traffic. So that'll happen, I think,
That's
this
great.
year, and kind of do that. And but we need to have those conversations with DOT and say, hey, guess what? We're looking at closing this. I'm sure they've been involved with some of the things since we've gotten the grant. But yeah, it'd be great to just have another meeting to kind of talk
Great.
about those issues. And we have, they've been a wonderful partner on Stillwater, so that's moving ahead.
yes.
And then they've been starting to work on the North Main Street Bridge. So I know they took off the top layers and stuff, and curious to kind of get an update from them. Just kind of another meeting update on what they're working on and where they're going. And
Yeah.
I know they studied a rotary or intersection improvements on Mill Village Road 5 and 10.
Right.
North Main Street. So yeah, just a couple things to hit on with them, and it's always great to have you there, and been a great advocate for us.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
So
sounds good.
depending on,
The data.
Chris, do you want to reach out to Jesse when you
Yeah,
have everything done, or?
Yeah, happy. I'll touch base with Alex. I know she's been in touch with Matt Minahan over at District 2, so
That'd be
we'll
great.
find the time.
Yeah. And Jesse
great.
from our team is filling in for Elena, and she
Yeah.
can do the scheduling for us.
Wonderful.
And we'll do any part of that, so you just tell us what you want,
Thank you.
and then I would like to come.
Yeah, that'd
And
be
I think
great.
naming these projects,
Yeah,
like, so that we can be, I know the big one is
Efficient.
Sugarloaf and Park,
Yeah.
but.
but just, hit on the others and make sure we're giving them all they need, and,
Good,
great.
okay.
Anything you have, Tim, or?
Not really, no. One of the things that, I don't know if the school commission's thinking about these things, and I assume they must be. One of the problems about declining enrollment is we have various different school types that compete with each other for a dwindling number of students.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a new technical school that's going to get built at $50 to $60 million. Then we have the charter schools. Then we have, the various individual elementary schools that are in our small towns. That's another element, structural element, I think, that particularly rural communities that we need to look at when we reopen this funding source, because school choice gives us a third of what we actually expend to educate students. So I don't know if you've had any discussions about this, Greg. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think this is Greg's whole life right now.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, I mean, you're totally right? We have a dwindling number of students. I mean, we have to pay attention to population overall.
Yes.
This is an existential crisis, right?
It is.
We build and develop or we die out here.
Yeah.
We can do it smartly to
Mhm.
protect our way of life, but that's it. We there's like zero choice, I
Right.
think, friends,
Yes,
as
I believe
as the
it.
person who works for you.
Yep.
And so, like, I think about population every day,
Mhm.
all the time. Like, that's the operating theme of our office.
Yeah,
is-
representation.
Is, right, it'll erode democracy.
Yeah,
Right, we lost a congressional seat with John Olver.
Absolutely.
We lost a House seat this year,
Yep.
this redistricting
right.
in Western Mass for the state.
Yep.
We almost lost a Senate seat, but we fought like hell.
Yeah.
We just erodes our ability to work for you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But then there's the whole money thing.
Yep.
But you're right, Tim, in terms of population, I mean, this is what Greg talks about a lot, right? We have a
Mhm.
dwindling number of students. We all fight over them. And I think, this is me, maybe I'm like, every problem looks like a nail, right? What's that thing?
Yep.
What is
Yes.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
like, I think the state has a lot of responsibility. The rural schools bill that Natalie and I have has a whole passage on an office within DESE that looks at declining population and really the collisions. And in the Chapter 7, in the Foundation Budget Review, I think we have to talk about things like charter impact and
Yeah.
charter school impact.
It kind-
Because I always believe that families should send their kids where they think they should go, but I do think the state has a responsibility to make it work.
Absolutely. It cannibalizes so many
it's
different.
just true.
It was supposed to develop best practices and then kind of come back to the districts, and it never has. And the cost is, just there's unlimited, cost for a charter school, and yet local schools can't. The money to educate a child there versus in district is just, and then you pull a lot of the bright kids out, and you're left with,
Well, the issue with charters, right, is that
So many.
sometimes they don't have the same kind of special education services. They can't offer transportation, so there's an economic barrier. I should say to this, I have filed a charter school bill. I late filed it, and I late filed it because it's really hard to understand how to enter this system with a scalpel.
right.
Because
Right.
these
It's
are
so-
kids and families and teachers, administrators who have, doing
Yeah.
their work. So how do you go in there and tweak? And I'm very proud of the bill.
Mhm.
I think we have to have a bigger conversation through a Foundation Budget Review Commission.
Right.
But I'm gonna throw everything I have at this, and so
Yeah.
there's a charter school bill that
Right.
also made it out favorably.
Great.
It's in Ways and Means, and one of the things that it would do is one of the areas that I think is the most difficult for towns is, as you know, Deerfield doesn't just send to charters the pass-through foundation
Mhm.
budget. It sends whatever you pay above foundation.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's difficult. So this makes that above foundation the state's responsibility.
That would be wonderful.
As one of the levers to pull.
Yep.
Because then it actually costs the town rather than just that child making that decision. And it's like, okay, that child's going.
Yep.
At Deerfield taxpayer money goes there along with state money.
Right.
And I think the state pays.
Yeah.
The child's
Agreed.
made that decision, the state pays.
That'd be a
the bill.
huge change. It would help a ton.
Yeah, I don't have the figure for Deerfield, but I
Yeah.
did run all of the numbers, and it
Yeah.
would be real money for
Yeah.
Deerfield.
Yep. Well,
And many
thank
other
you for that
communities.
information.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Well,
Good to
it's,
know. Yep.
we have to get it through.
One
Yep.
bit at a time.
Yeah. And then there's a bunch of other stuff which we don't have to talk about now, but maybe when we meet, we could do a little conversation on, there's line clearing projects that are happening. I want you to
Seeing
know
that. Yep.
I'm really engaged in them
Great.
with FERCog, with PVPC,
Yep.
because they're the National Grid and, Eversource line clearings are
Yeah.
pretty big. We
They
want to
are.
have an Eversource meeting.
Okay.
There was a National Grid meeting that conflicted actually with something.
Okay.
We had an event already scheduled, so
Yep.
I wasn't able to go, but I think I might be organizing the Eversource meeting.
Okay.
And it's just an opportunity for townsfolk to come, conservation commissions, whomever, to come and ask questions of Eversource.
Right.
Um,
Because they
be-
plan to widen in
Widening.
some, and then some. I think some of them are like 150 feet or something like that, and
Yep.
the feet or yards. But they, I know in some areas they're going to get wider.
They're going
Not so
to,
much in
some of
some.
it is clearing within the existing line.
Yes.
Some of it is widening.
Yeah,
And then it's just a huge swath.
it's a lot of land.
And,
Yeah.
we've had multiple meetings now with MIPA,
Okay.
the Massachusetts Environmental Protection, and we're saying, what do you ever think about combined stacking these two? Because if NGrid and Eversource are in the region doing this, it's not just one project, it's now two,
Right.
and they're cutting up the entire valley. And so what responsibility do we have as a state to understand the combined
Mm-hmm.
problems
Right.
for wildlife, for residents,
Yeah.
so we're asking all of those questions along with the planning agencies.
Yeah. Good.
Excellent.
Oh, what do the finances look like at the state at the moment? Just curious what the revenue they're seeing, and I don't know if we.
Yeah, so
Does
we
it
had
help?
we had what's called a consensus revenue hearing, and that officially kicks off
Yeah.
budget season.
Right.
And there are, so you probably know, and I should have actually worked this in, I had it in my outline, I didn't say it, Trevor.
Okay.
We finished 2025 with sort of a squeaker.
Yep.
It was actually shocking how close we were.
Yep.
That's not a great thing,
Right.
but we paid our bills.
Yep.
2026, our revenue doesn't look terrible, but it's important for us all to understand that between the time the governor filed fiscal year 26 last January and
Yep.
the time we sent it to her last June, we cut $1 billion from the budget. It wasn't something we wanted to cut,
Right.
but it was because we saw what was happening with
Yeah.
the federal bill and
Yep.
Medicaid, SNAP, heating, all these things that we know have unfortunately come to some sort of fruition or
Yes.
continuing threats. So the budget, the overall amount of the budget is less this year than it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty horrible, right?
Yeah.
When you think about the cost of inflation on towns and
Right.
people. I generally, what people said during the consensus revenue, which is where we listen on Ways and Means, we listen to smart people.
Yeah.
Um,
What the tax rate?
yeah.
How much they're pulling in? Yeah.
So generally, folks think that our economy will grow. Our economy, Massachusetts' economy, will grow about 2%,
Okay.
which is slow, but
But I'll take
okay.
that compared to.
the problem is that we have a large percentage of our budget that comes in from federal revenue.
Right.
And it's about 16 billion-ish. It can go up to 20, it would depend. And that's a lot of money in a $61 billion budget.
Right.
And so that's in flux. The other thing that's in flux, and the governor will make some decisions here. I hope she makes the one that I want, but the federal bill also has a revenue provision that would limit our revenue by about $665 million. It's a give back to the wealthiest.
All right.
And it's unfortunate, so we can decouple from that. We can say we don't want that revenue provision. The governor, she's certainly heard from numbers of people. She's heard from me
Good.
on this, and the A&F secretary, with my interest in this.
Yeah.
Many states have already decoupled.
Yeah.
I think we should decouple.
I do
We
too.
shouldn't take the hit because we're going to take other federal hits.
Yeah. Well, it's hostile. It's a hostile administration towards any state that's run by a Democratic, administration.
We certainly are
Federally.
paying some prices, but
Mhm.
this is a cut that would happen in all states in the union.
Right.
This is a long answer to your very short question, which is, I don't imagine very much growth.
Right.
I think our job as a legislature is to figure out where to grow.
Right.
So, for example, UGA,
Yeah. Yep.
we know that UGA hasn't kept pace.
Yep.
I'm sure you've read the Mass Municipal Association
Yes.
horrifying report. I'll actually follow this up. I'll send you a memo
Thank
that
you.
I sent to Ways and Means and the Senate President and the Governor. I distilled it because I
Yeah.
felt like I just wanted to pack a little bit more of a punch. And when you distill it, it's horrifying, even more horrifying when you look at it. So, I just said we need to focus on UGA, rural aid,
Yeah.
minimum aid,
Yeah.
and we have to pass some policy provisions, like those in the rural schools bill,
Yeah.
and then in there, we have to pass pilots. So the more of the more comes where it should go,
Yep.
right? And we have to rethink UGA,
Yeah.
right? We have to open up UGA.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that's in there, in the governor's budget. If not, it should be in the Senate's budget,
Yeah.
where we say, why again what is this? We give
Right.
this out like we do every year. Why are the wealthiest communities getting, actually, frankly, any money?
True.
Right? Now, I know they all put in. but,
Sure.
if we're really going to level the playing field, how do we do that with limited resources?
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be tight,
Yeah.
super tight,
Yeah. Okay.
and scary. And I hope we make some good decisions that prioritize the well-being of people in municipalities.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, thank you for your fight on that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and once you see the governor's budget, I'd love your thought, and I'm sure
Sure.
MMA and STAM
Yeah, I'm looking
will-
forward to the end of the month.
will tell us what they think, and then
Yeah.
we'll have all these Ways and Means hearings,
Yeah.
right?
Great.
One thing that you don't need to really respond heavily on is, we know we're going through a health insurance crisis, and from the federal government, so abdicating responsibility for that. So what's Massachusetts thinking?
Yeah. So I will say, so you're right? Like there's the Medicaid piece,
Mhm.
and we think that with the bill, we'll lose about 300,000 people off Medicaid. That's
crazy.
a huge amount. That'll just have a negative impact on hospitals and community health
Mhm.
centers, because people who lose their health insurance, right, are not
You're
going to
just
stop
gonna-
getting sick.
No,
They're just
it just happens.
not going to be able to pay for it. And then you're talking about the exchanges, the subsidized health
Yeah.
care, the sort of for the working middle class.
Yep.
That is not a price tag that Massachusetts can pay.
Right.
We're going to, I'm sure,
Help.
and we have leaned in on Medicaid rather,
Mhm.
or Mass Health. I'm hoping that Congress comes through on this because it is really dire for our families.
Yeah.
And then the legislature has taken some pains. Could we do more? 1,000%. But we have taken some pains to do prescription drug affordability. We've done a whole mental health care bill. We've done reproductive care. We've enshrined that. And we're going to tackle primary care.
That's super
you know,
important.
which is huge for us out here.
Yes.
And we are really leaning into hospitals, especially
Yeah.
rural hospitals and
Yeah.
community health centers. So in that, we're somewhat in the room of your question,
Mhm.
Tim, but, you know, the bigger question is how do people and how do municipalities and entities
Yeah.
afford the health care? And,
Just our, you know, going up 20%, then another 20% all 1 year, mid-year, you know, it's been rough for the municipalities with the trust. And,
HCGIT, yeah. And Deerfield is staying, right, with,
if it's still there,
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we're working with other communities to look at other options available.
Yeah.
But yeah, but
For
we,
now.
we were not among the communities that signed up for the GIC.
Right,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so you know, and I did eventually see that list, yeah. I mean, the delegation did what, I wish we could have done more, but we did what we could do to, you know, both get GIC to be at the table in Division of Revenue, Division of Insurance.
Yeah.
But it's a really very dire situation.
It is.
You know, again, it's like it was that weird thing where all of a sudden it was affecting 73-member units, many
Yeah.
of them in my
Yes.
district, and yet it's a private entity.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, you know, it's
It's not like you
ve-
could just step in, right,
well, we could, yeah.
Yeah.
It was impossible for us to
right,
fund a private entity
Yeah.
from public funds like that. But
Right.
even if they were municipal,
Yeah.
the costs were going to largely municipalities. But there's nothing fun in there, and I'm
Right.
sure the executive committee of HCGIT thought there was nothing fun there.
right.
But I understand there's a new consultant.
Yes,
We're meeting with them.
Yep.
So
it's also frightening.
yeah.
Yeah.
The whole thing. I mean, let me know. You know, I'm still pretty plugged in. It's like, you
Mhm.
know, sometimes you don't want legislators so plugged in on like private matters.
Understood.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know that folks had a lot of feelings, right? They had a
Mhm.
lot of feelings about like, why didn't you bail us out?
Mm.
And we were like, I mean, there's
can't
so many
really do
private things that we
Yeah.
could bail out or we should bail out, but this is public money. And then
Yeah.
they really did, I think they wanted us to have more things to say about other options. And
Yeah.
we just, you
You
know,
can't.
we didn't, the only
Yeah.
lever we could pull was making GIC come to the table
Right.
to talk and to be useful. And
Yeah.
the Healy administration did do those technical assistance. I don't know if you participated in any of them. They were hard and they were late and, you know, in the game. And it was, you know, it was a hard moment.
Mm. I don't think it's over.
It's not, no, I don't think it's over either.
Just have to keep a positive attitude and
That's right.
laugh when you can laugh about
That's
some of
right.
this, and we'll get through it.
Yep.
Well, it's hard for towns, right? I know it's hard
Yes.
to absorb for Deerfield. And
Brutal.
you've seen, I mean, we've seen many other communities also try for overrides or
Yeah.
things like that. And it's been very, 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 very disruptive.
Yep. For sure. Well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time
Thank
and
you.
coming and all your work you do for us. And it's a wonderful partnership, and we're very grateful for you and all your staff and Natalie and her staff.
We are grateful
It's
for you.
fun
Really,
to
I
do
have
some
to
good
tell you,
work.
like, seeing the library and thinking about all the things that happened with the library and then seeing the senior center and,
We're working on something there, and
yeah.
I think when we move along a little bit on that, we'd love if the state had some support for our seniors as far as regional senior centers. Grateful for what you've done. We're trying
I
to
did a
tackle that.
$100,000 earmark.
Yeah,
This is
no,
not-
that was
Yeah,
great.
it was great.
Yeah, but
It was great. It helps, move things along, and so we're really trying to find a home for our
Yeah.
seniors, and it's a lot. It's just a lot to tackle, but yeah,
it's a lot. And you do it really, I mean, really, the Tri-County is really beautiful. I will say
Lucky.
that, I didn't talk about this, but I'm sure MMA and STEM are, the Municipal Empowerment Act, the governor's good bill.
yeah,
You know, I hope we do it.
Yes.
I was bummed we didn't do it last session. And if we do it, it should have a municipal building bill in there.
That'd be great.
Right, that Natalie and I filed. You think
Yeah.
I don't file any bills without Natalie, but I do work with her all the time.
Yes, well,
Um,
it's better to.
So
be a
it's better.
team. Yeah.
So I will be trying to jam that in there.
That's
So
great,
if
thank you.
If you see that come to the floor.
Yes.
And Deerfield wants to go put the
Hello.
municipal building bill in,
Thank you.
that would be
Okay.
a way that there would be capital funds for
Yes.
a senior center.
Yeah.
We just have to get it done. That's one of the largest things we've heard
Yeah.
from a municipal empowerment
Yeah.
standpoint.
Yep, for sure. Well, thank you.
Thank you, friends.
Thank you
Happy
so
New
much.
Year.
Can I
Thanks
just
for
add one
joining us.
thing?
Yeah.
Just to end on a positive note, which
Yeah.
is, because we've worked together a lot on education, and I will say that you have, between her and Natalie, you have two representatives that couldn't be working any harder for the education in this area.
Absolutely.
And also, just to say that Frontier, with all the impacts of declining enrollment, Frontier, I think, is been impacted probably the least out of all the districts in this area. So that's a kind of a testament to the school district that you have. So I think that's
Yes.
kind of a positive thing for Deerfield.
is.
And
For sure.
so, I mean, it's not necessarily the case with other districts. Everyone's different, but
Yeah, we're grateful for,
we're just very lucky to have them working for us.
absolutely, and
supporting
Darius
us.
and.
Darius is,
So
Yeah.
Darius
Awesome.
and Darius is a great
And Shelley.
great
Yeah.
superintendent.
Yeah.
So
They
We're very
are-
lucky. We're a good
right,
team.
you're right. The Frontier is really quite special. I spoke to classes there with a teacher,
nice.
Jason, who's a friend of mine, and
Oh, nice.
I love going there. And every
Yeah.
time I'm there, I'm like, wow, this is like a vibrant, happening
is.
place.
It is.
And the elementary schools that feed into
Yes.
it are
Yeah.
beautiful.
They are.
So yeah, I agree with you. It's there's a lot of good here,
Mhm.
including the school system.
I'll
Yep.
also just put a plug in for your 517 and 314 bills for education and the rural districts. Is that right? Isn't that
Oh my
those are
God, you have those
He's-
numbers.
Oh, I
Yeah,
have
was
those
like,
numbers. Yeah. Well, because
Yeah.
I
Got
read
it.
them a lot, and I think everybody should read them because they're really
They're really good.
great bills. So
Yeah,
thank you.
the Senate one is in Ways and Means. I don't know where Nats is, but we have to get it done.
Yeah.
I have a farm bill for farmers,
Mhm.
as I think you guys know. Natalie
Yep.
and I have an agriculture bill, which would be a game changer for our people here,
Yeah,
especially Deerfield,
Yes, for sure.
Sunderland,
for sure.
and and then rural schools.
Yeah.
It
Grateful
is
for it.
education. We have got to crack it. We have
Yeah.
not cracked it, but we're certainly not giving up.
Good. Thank
So,
you.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful night. Thanks
Yeah.
again
You.
for coming.
Drive
to join
safe.
us.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much for the
Thank
time.
you. Sure. Okay, I will, I guess we'll open it up for public comment. If anybody has any comments they'd like to hit on before we get rolling in the meeting? Anyone online or in the audience? If not? Anything you want. Anything you like.
Anything.
Yeah, you come on up to the mic and state your name and what your comment is. Just so everybody online, we get it recorded. Welcome.
Hi, it's Jason Clark, 81 North Main.
Thank you.
I was going back to where you guys were talking about the park earlier, about possibly shutting down Park Street there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, what's the timeline for that and when you guys are planning for that?
So, and I'll just clarify, so this is a grant that FERCog got, so the town did not get the grant.
Okay.
At this point, and I was just speaking with Alex, our planner, about it, we don't anticipate any of that work being done this year, which is a good thing, given that we're going to be working on Elm Street this summer.
Okay.
So likely, we're looking at some point next year.
Okay, the only thing I was gonna say with that is, before you were to do any traffic studies, there or along North Main Street or anything, it'd probably be a good idea to wait until that bridge is done,
Mm-hmm.
because there's gonna be a substantial change in the traffic flow.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah,
It's a fair point, and
Yep.
yeah, that's all. So,
Thank you.
all right,
Thank you for your comment. Anything else before we jump in? No? Okay. Let's see. So next, select board reports and announcements. I will just kind of state, I went to we had a Franklin County emergency preparedness meeting today. It was going to be at GCC, but got moved to FERCog, and it was tabletop exercise on the intersection of public health and emergencies, and kind of the scenario was an ice storm hitting the Northeast, and kind of who tackles what and where, and it just kind of brought to light a few of the things that we need to kind of update our SEMP plan on. John, our emergency management, Chief Pachurik, John Pachurik, is our emergency management director. He, in September, had updated our SEMP plan, but we will need to kind of fill that out a little bit more based on this meeting and tabletop exercise, about 3 hours, and we went over kind of what happens, who does what, who's responsible for what, and so that's part of our SEMP plan, and we need to kind of work on that and update that. And then I thought of working with the nurses to kind of just get names of people that, if they're on oxygen or need a generator or something like that for their well-being or their health. Just periodically we get a name of who needs what and special needs. So if something happens, if they need to be picked up or moved to a shelter or something like that. So we'll work on that in the future. But it was a good exercise. It was good to see. It was a good turnout. Anything else anybody has?
A couple of quick things. Christopher might talk about this a little later, but the 1888 Building Advisory Committee got an opportunity to walk through the project as it's progressed. It's about 4 months along, and everybody came away very pleased with the amount of progress that's occurred. The interior of the original building is largely, the upstairs second floor is largely sheetrocked, and all of the electrical and IT and air handling equipment's largely in place, the water, the fire suppression systems. And next week, they'll be finishing up the first floor that's with the blown-in insulation, and then finishing up the sheetrock. The new building is, the elevator shaft has now been re-engineered to accommodate the new elevator that they want to install, and they should be putting the trusses up in the next week or two, sealing it up. We're in the process of looking for bids from local solar contractors to take care of that piece of it. Still on track for September, early October, hopefully moving in there. And then I've handed this off to Christopher and Greg, but some local farmers are interested in talking with the town about the impact of immigration policy on their ability to hire workers, and so we're talking about possibility of really getting a forum where local farmers come and talk to us about what they're seeing, and so more on that as it develops, if we can pull it off before the farmers get too busy to come talk.
Okay. Let's see. There's an item under Board of Health. I'll just hit on a couple of Board of Health things that just, everybody, I think, knows everybody that's sick right now. So just protect yourself as best you can, wash your hands, all of that good stuff we've all learned. But I know that there's some pertussis going around, and the flu has just been off the charts. So just, if you're feeling ill, just make sure you're hydrating and all of that. There was an item on here about an odor, burning plastic odor on Main Street. Have we have any other data on that?
I think we've had a couple instances over the last few months of folks in that area reporting things. Not a ton.
Mm-hmm.
I know we've talked to our DPW super. Obviously, their building is right there.
Yep.
They certainly haven't experienced any issues. And I did check in with Ned Savitsky, our health agent, today, just to see if there were any additional reports that had come out. But so far, nothing.
Okay.
I believe, actually, Blake had reached out to Orifal just to get it on their radar.
Yeah.
So for the moment, it doesn't seem like there's any further action to be taken.
Okay. Great.
But just, wanted to let residents know we'll keep an eye on it. And certainly if something does come up, we'll reach out.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, and one of the things that we want to do is there might be some other source for the intermittent issues, and so we want to make sure that do the proper research to determine what is actually going on.
Right, thank you. Yeah, could be a lot of things. The next item is I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of December 17th, 2025.
Second.
Thank you. There was an item in here. Maybe not. I thought there was an item in here about the first read of the campaigning stuff at the transfer station, but I don't see it now. So maybe my packet, I think, was mixed up, because we were going to talk about it last meeting, but we didn't.
It's it's item 7C.
For this meeting.
Yeah.
not-
Yes, for this
not-
meeting.
yeah,
Oh, you're
okay.
talking about in the minutes?
Yeah, in the minutes.
Oh, okay.
But I
Let me.
don't- But I don't think. Okay, maybe I missed it. So, or I had it mixed up in my thing. So, okay, good, because we didn't talk about it, right?
No,
Today's
we
the
didn't.
first one. Okay, good. All right. So, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Before you do that, I did
Yeah.
catch one issue.
Okay, thank you.
It just says Maggie Morin, but it was Sarah.
Sarah Morin.
Yeah. I didn't notice that. I
Where's-
just forgot it.
Where is that?
It's in the treehouse.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes, got it. Okay, so we'll update that. Okay, thank you. So all those in favor?
Tim LGI.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. 2-0-0.
It's nice to have one set of minutes to approve.
Yes, that's great. That is great. Okay, so discussion items, we have Stillwater Bridge takings, vote to be rescheduled to February. Update on that?
Yep. So all the way back in October, I think MassDOT let us know they were ready for us to move forward with the actual takings that town meeting authorized the select board to do as
Yeah.
part of the Stillwater Bridge project. And right before we were about to, they said, well, pull the brakes. We actually have some environmental work that we still need to wrap up.
Okay.
So they said, kick it to January, get to January, same thing. So we're still waiting on MassDOT.
Okay.
They are still fairly confident they can advertise for the project in February, and
Okay.
some of these items will just be noted in that, bid solicitation,
Got it.
essentially saying they're not wrapped up, but they will be.
By the
So
time.
expect to see that on an agenda probably in February.
That's great. So they plan to go out to bid soon?
Yes,
And,
yep.
Okay, good.
Yep. And the Article 97 piece, we didn't get a chance to mention it with
Yep.
the senator, but that is before Ways and Means. It was favorably reported.
Oh,
So
good.
hopefully we're nearing the end of that process as well.
Sounds good. So now we're at the first reading of the transfer station nonprofit charitable and political group solicitation policy. So I think this came about of, kind of anytime we have an election coming up, everybody descends on the transfer station as the local watering hole for discussing candidates or any other issue. And I think the people running the department, kind of running the transfer station, trying to do their job, kind of had some questions like, hey, who runs this? Who authorized this? What's going on? So I think the idea is to kind of have a first reading of a policy, and I think the administration's worked with DPW superintendent to kind of say, okay, what's safe, what's not, what should we do, what's the policy around this, to be fair to everybody, because it is kind of like the old Jerry's place, everybody goes to kind of talk about what's going on in town, and it's a place to kind of capture people's attention of what might be coming up, or what everybody just talks at the transfer station. So we wanted to make a policy that was fair and allowed people to kind of talk about their issue without impeding what's going on as people are trying to just do their day-to-day dropping off their recycling or whatever. So I'll just read through this, and there's a map along with this too. So that the policy on use of transfer station for solicitations by non-profit charitable and political groups. So
And I would just mention, this was something Matthew pulled together just for the board's consideration, and he's
Yeah.
fully expecting that we'll have
Some
comments and
revisions.
thoughts
Yeah,
on
this
it,
will need
Yeah.
some work. Yeah.
Yep. So the first item here is permission must be granted by a select board vote. The second was no person or groups are allowed on the premises except during normal operating hours, which makes sense. All activities must be confined to the designated area. See attached designated area diagram, and that's one area where I think we'll change. There's one spot that's good, but you kind of can't pack everything into one thing. So I think there does need to be maybe a section over on the right that would be out of the way and safe, so that people can come in and do their thing if they don't want to be deal with anything, but there is safe area to set up a table there instead of just the one exit, that one triangle there. It's hard to pack. A lot of times it's two different campaigns that are talking to people, and to try and put them both in that one spot is just too narrow and probably not safe. So maybe there and another spot, but it would take people to talk about what makes sense there too. And then no one less than 18 years of age on premises without being accompanied by an adult. That's safety kind of thing. At no time is any person or group to enter the roadway or impede the flow of traffic. Vehicles must stop by choice. All persons and groups must always act in a courteous and professional manner. Any group or individual must leave immediately when requested by a grantor or any other duly authorized town or South Deerfield Fire District personnel. I don't know where that came from. That's kind of a weird. Police, fire, superintendents, authorized staff. I don't know where that came from. That's a weird kind of sentence. So, any idea?
We'll talk to Matthew
Okay.
about cleaning it up. I think the intention there was just to make sure that emergency personnel and the DPW can tell
Can
people
direct.
when
That's
when
totally
need
fine.
be. Yeah.
Yeah, totally fine. We
But
should
certainly
yeah.
could use some cleaning up. Yeah.
Yep. We'll do that. So 8 is to use at one's own risk. Guarantee will hold the town harmless in case of an accident or injury. Every person in the group that will be on the transfer station property site shall be required to provide a signed Town of Deerfield release waiver. So there's a waiver along with this, which we can go over too. If the event involves requesting signatures, they shall be collected by residents on the way out as they exit the facility. Maybe we could talk about that a little bit too, because I don't really want to hold traffic up because if we're only in that one spot, I know that's where people stand. So maybe like on the other side where it's an open area, people could come over there for signatures if they wanted instead of, stopping traffic
Yeah, and
flow.
I think Matthew had envisioned it as sort of a drive-through situation where people on their way out around the back of the salt shed are, they're driving right past, and on the driver's side, or they can reach out and sign things.
But it's one lane,
Yep.
and it's like you're backing up too much traffic. And I think if people want to get out and sign something, they should park over in a bigger parking spot. But we could talk about that too. Let's see. If the event, I already talked about it. And then the form must be posted during the event. So you would just have this, have a form kind of saying you got to vote. You got to vote from the select board to do this kind of thing. So we should talk about how that works. And
Right, and this is largely, in addition to campaigns, it's largely to allow people who, like John Pachorik Sr. was out gathering Second Amendment signatures for a state petition, and just want to make sure that we give clarity to the transfer station staff that they have a signature, they can do this, because there's been confusion before where certain groups are asked to leave and other people are not asked to leave. And so this way we take that, confusion away from the DPW
Correct.
staff. They'll be notified when the group arrives. We have this select board authorization for this day, for this time.
yeah,
And I think that's what the staff are interested in doing. It's just having clarity.
And yeah, and I'm kind of interested in like, it's the one place that I get the want to be kind of like right where all the recyclables are and everybody's kind of coming through there.
Sure.
But I kind of feel like if you were over on the side, it allows people to come to you, got plenty of
Yep.
signs to direct, but we're not like, you know, if Joe Schmo is there with a Second Amendment thing or a, you
Yeah.
know, a balloon ban, you know, they're not just like getting everybody to do the signature and interrupt people's flow. through
Absolutely,
there.
yeah. It should be like,
Designated area,
we're here to talk about this issue.
Yeah.
If you're interested, come see
please
us,
come see us.
rather
and we're
than
out of
the other way around.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Okay, so that's first read, and we'll get through that.
Great. So I'll convey those comments to Matthew. We're going to have a meeting with him on Friday morning anyway, so
Okay,
we'll
great.
talk through some of those items
Yeah.
and come back to this when we meet next. So.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you for that. I'm in, where am I? Get back here a second. So we have a couple sewer abatements here, but I think that.
I would say my recommendation is to pass over the first one. It's really for, just to have you look, the 125% automatic abatement had already kicked in, so they actually have received an abatement. I don't think they knew that, but it's
So-
just to show you that they actually have done some work on it.
Yeah.
And so hopefully in the future, they won't be, you know, upwards of 60,000 in their use.
Do we know how much their abatement was already? And
Yeah, it's listed on the bill. You can see the, basically
the previous balance is the abatement?
So the minus, whatever it is,
Okay.
eight something.
$874
Yeah.
change.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's the abatement down to the 125%, which everybody gets when
Yep.
it's over that
Can I-
125%. So
and it would be anything over the previous 23,000 amount. I just wonder what the regular bill was normally.
yeah, you can see in the history going back, it would have been somewhere in that 23 to
Right,
24,000.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So they've been abated
Right.
through the automatic, and
Didn't-
I think the important thing is that they had it fixed so that it's not going to hit them in the
Yes,
future.
exactly. They'll go back to their normal readings. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. So we can just.
That can be just deemed denied by not taking any action.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we would.
I think it would get muddy if you try to take.
Right,
So-
right. Doesn't make sense. And then the other one is for property at 8 Ward Ave. But the only thing on here is the minimum usage because the building's not in use at the moment. So that's what everybody pays, whether they use or not use. So I don't have a way to abate that. I think that, I think the only other option is to, have the property used or, take down the property. I don't know, one of the two, but the reason we have a usage fee is because having sewage to a building, provides value to that property. And that's why we have a minimum usage charge and a sewer connection charge. And there's nothing charged above that, so, okay. So,
It's okay not to take action on that as
yeah,
well.
I'm not gonna take, motion to not take action on these.
I'll second if we need
Thank
to
you.
do it.
Great. Thank you. There's an extended contract with Christopher Curtis through June 30th, 2026, and if I understand this right, it's because he just has some deliverables that he's waiting on to
Correct,
complete
yeah.
from
It's
the.
just a timing issue.
Timing
with the,
issue.
With the,
Okay.
it's not for any more funds to be distributed to him. It's just to let him
Yep.
finish.
And there's nothing to sign, just all we would do is.
You can vote to authorize Christopher to
great.
sign, yeah.
So, let's see here. So I move the select board approve the extensions of the contract with Christopher Curtis for municipal vulnerability preparedness action grant and grant coordination services through June 30th, 2026 as presented, and that further to authorize the town administrator to sign.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Do you want to vote on the steam mill? It looks like there's a motion to.
There is a motion, yeah.
Okay, yep. So,
Didn't realize we missed that one.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, I know we talked about it, but didn't vote it. So, let's say, move the pursuant to the vote taken on Article 6 of the special town meeting held on October 29th, 2025. I move the Select Board establish a permanent protection of land located on Steam Mill Road, Deerfield, Massachusetts, and as shown on the town of Deerfield Assessor's Map 79, Lot 39, including 31 acres more or less, whose deed is recorded at Book 731, page 32 of the Franklin County Registry of Deeds, for the exclusive purpose of conservation as town forest in accordance with Article 97 of the amendments to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and further move that the Select Board enter into and negotiate all necessary and related documents, subject to such restrictions as limitations as the Select Board deems appropriate, in order to effectuate the permanent protection of said parcel accordingly.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Thank you. Then we have the 1821 Meeting House Steeple Repair Community Preservation Funding Application Letter of Support. We had put this in, so we certainly support it, I think. So I'll make a motion. I move the Select Board approve and sign the letter of support for the Community Preservation Act application for the 1821 Meeting House Clock Tower Restoration and Reuse Engineering Report.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion or talk about it all, or just, nope? Okay. All those in favor?
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
I'll just say that the exterior painting projects that we undertook earlier have highlighted the need for continuing to work on that.
Keep going to the sky. Yep. No, it looks good. The building looks good, so keep it going. And then I also, I'm so thankful that Matthew had worked on this. There's a cemetery fee increase proposal pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 114, Section 15. I move the Select Board approve the cemetery plot fee increase from $350 to $650 per plot, effective July 1st, 2026, as recommended by the Department of Public Works. Second for discussion.
I'll second that.
So, I am so grateful that he's working on this, because if anybody saw the maps, so this money, these lot prices are very low. We've looked around, and they're anywhere from $2,500 a lot, which is a lot, to average is about $1,000 a lot. So we're still well below that, but the revenue really needs to be funneled towards digitizing the maps and kind of maintaining our space. So we really need to get that done. If anyone saw the actual blueprint and the writing here and there and scratch over, and it's amazing that I'm just grateful that's going to be taken care of. So I'm in full support of this.
And I also would say that state law has changed over the years about what amount of space you actually need to put a casket in the ground. My wife's family ran into this in Turner's, where they had a plot for 5 family members. Turned out that the law changed, and they didn't have any room to put in a 5th casket, and so needed to have someone cremated. And so we definitely need to find out the parcels that have been assigned, whether they still meet state requirements.
Yeah, it's a good thought. We have a lot of cemeteries all over the place, so really great to kind of get that done. So
I was just going to add
Any
that
further-
we're happy that Matt's doing it, because the alternative was going to be a Board of Oversight, a boo for the cemetery, and we thought maybe they'd
That's
have
a
to
little
meet
too much.
They'd have to meet on Halloween.
Yeah,
and-
boo, no.
love you.
All right.
All those in favor?
Tim Elchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. All right. Let's see. So two feathers, class 2 dealer's license. So I'll make this motion for discussion. I move the select board approve the class 2 dealer's license for Two Feathers, subject to all applicable local and state requirements.
Second for discussion.
Thank you. This is later than normal, and
Yeah, I think you could, if you want to amend it to retroactively, I think it's this, we've had a couple that, he was having difficulty with the permit I, so we had to actually get online with him and walk him through it. And, I mean, we're comfortable with.
But everything's
Yeah,
he's up to
he's
date on
filled
everything.
everything,
Okay.
he's got all the insurance, everything's all
That's
set.
great.
So it was just a matter of, just a little
getting
bit.
it through the system.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a new system, so that's fine.
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor?
Tim Elchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. All right. We do not have any board applications, general appointments, resignations. I did talk to you a little bit today, and you're going to get on we're going to talk about our cultural resource officer has kind of been vacant for a while, and have somebody interested in that, so we're going to talk about that at some point in the future. Town administrator updates.
Yeah,
That's where we're at.
these updates have already been provided in some places, but
Yes.
so you've got a copy of the notice from USDOT and from FERCog about the grant they received for Park Street, which we've already discussed quite a bit tonight. One other item that I'm kind of relaying on behalf of Alex, she got some technical assistance to do a further assessment of St. James and the rectory, to identify any kind of hazardous materials that need to be abated there. So we did have a kickoff meeting with DEP today, and they're working. Weston Sampson is the consultant on that project. So you can expect to see them poking around the church and taking some samples, and
Okay.
hopefully that'll help us address some of the concerns that we heard when we put that parcel out to bid for senior housing, and heard back that among the issues that were preventing people from putting forth the proposal was just the possibility that there's some things that need to be abated there. So
Yes.
hopefully that'll give us some sense of that.
Great.
And then real quick, I did want to mention we had a meeting with a few of our other fellow towns. This was kind of an initiative Julie Chalfont, the chair of our finance committee, had wanted to put together, just basically creating a forum for the other, for Whately, Sunderland, Conway, and their select board and finance committee members to just come together with us to chat about the budget. We obviously have several shared services. We have SCEMS, we have the South County Senior Center, we have FCAT, and a few other things. And so we had a great little kickoff meeting for that group back on the 19th. Really productive discussion. I forwarded the notes to everyone. So, I think among the major items was just, we're going to try and organize some kind of joint finance select board meetings with all of those communities for when we do the SCEMS and South County Senior Center budgets.
Great.
Just so everyone's in the room at the same time. And
That's super helpful.
it'll be, I think it'll be efficient, and I think
Yep.
it'll be helpful in a lot of other ways as well. So just wanted to mention that, and we are looking to schedule another meeting. I think it's some point in late January, early February. I can't recall the date off the top of my head, but we'll be coming up soon.
Great. And
Yeah.
a couple of things, the FCOT board, cable advisory board, I think so that negotiation is almost complete. Let's see.
Yeah, it's getting
Conway's-
there.
Conway's-
I do know that we had I don't know if I want to call it a setback, but we did have Eileen Leahy, who has left Comcast, who was the government liaison for the negotiation process. So we may have to enter into negotiations with a new person, but a lot of it she was trying to work out at the end of the year here before she
Okay.
left. So I'll have more about that once we have our next
Okay.
meeting. So I
Sounds
think it's
good.
going to be next Friday. So
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Okay, that's great. That was the grant program, so And that was that.
Yeah, that's all I have on my end,
Yeah.
unless there are questions from the board on any other ongoing projects. Oh, I did want to mention, actually, Trevor, while I got you. So we obviously, we just did the Building Advisory Committee's walkthrough, the 1888 building. Next Friday, we're hoping to do a staff walkthrough, given that now,
Right.
rooms are kind of, the framing's there and everyone can see what their space might look like. I did want to invite you, given that you
Yeah.
weren't able to attend
Yeah.
the Building Advisory one,
So that's Friday.
Friday the 16th, and I'm going to nail down a time, but I'll
Sometime
loop you
during
in.
the day.
Yep.
Okay, great. That's great. I'll just put here noon. Okay, great.
And actually, on that front, I will just mention quickly, Greg has been doing yeoman's work on pulling together an AV RFQ for that building. So I think we're going to have really a superior audio-visual system for our meeting room.
Yeah.
So obviously the right man for the job over here, so
One
we're in
area
good
you
hands.
can go over budget on that. Just, I don't want to hear, I can't hear you from the back of the room. Speak into the mic. Good. Good. Great. Okay. Any other business before the board? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor?
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Thank you all.